Hi everyone, this is EstaRa with a message for you. Today is Friday, February 15th, 2019. Yes, I know it's been quite some time since you've seen a video from me. I don't even know if I have any followers still left. I don't know if anybody cares what I have to say. But I'm back and I'm ready to share some information with you and be back in alignment with our journey. So this is a twin flame message, but it's also for anybody who's not a twin flame, and I feel like um, it will assist many of us at this time on the planet. So I have a lot to kind of catch us up with, but I want to do a brief catch up with who I am and what happened. Well, not really who I am because you all know, but catch you up a little bit on what's been happening with me and why I've kind of disappeared. So last year, as you all knew, I had stuff going on clearly with my neck and my back. But you also knew that I was like not doing videos as often as I did before. I was having this really bad, severe exhaustion and kind of being sick for quite some time and on and off, not feeling well. And that actually started with a year ago. I was sick with the flu really bad. And from that point forward, I never really recovered. I had bronchitis, stuff that I don't usually have. Well, that actually opened up a whole can of worms, if you will. I ended up going into a place of having restrictive airway disease over the fall, and it started in October. And it kept getting worse and worse, where I couldn't breathe, and I ended up being on inhalers, went to the hospital, was on medications, and found out that there's actually mold in the apartment that I was living and working in. And my guess is probably for some time, with all the symptoms that I've had over the years of not really fully being recovered from my car accident, I was probably receiving like a toxin from the mold that was there at the apartment. So, unfortunately for me, it made me pretty sick and forced me out of the apartment. And I have been kind of in transition for the last few months, and I still kind of am. I'm not home, and I don't know exactly where that will all be at the moment. But in the meantime, I want to share a little bit about what's been going on in the energy world and why this all happened. And Spirit's been guiding me right along the way. Me getting sick was not a fun thing, but it was kind of like the final straw, if you will, in the journey of my getting the messages to move energy wise, move myself more and shift me. So, of course, things took over and moved me out. So I am like in the middle of finding direction. I feel like doors have been opened left and right for me in many very varying facets of my lifetime, and in terms of what direction I might want to go in, what direction I plan to go in. uh, Everything's open. Everything's open right now. So a lot's happened since then. So the end of last year and early part of this year, so the first quarter, I would say, of this year, we're going through rapid purging and clearing. So a lot of my videos last year kept saying, you need to focus on you, the journey about the twin flames. This is it. Like, there is this like pressure, this pressure to move forward and go on, and there is a pressure to come together in divine union. So, with that being said, I kind of want to share what's been happening, because there is still this pressure for union, for twins to come together. We're needed. Time on this planet is necessary to bring in divine love to this planet, so people remember what it is and who we are, why we are here, but also to like help elevate the planet into a place of love and into a place of a divine relationship that does not already exist on the planet. Gradually, people are beginning to come together and showing that love, but it's not love like we've known before. It's not love that is human. It is beyond human, which I'm sure you all are like, well, we heard this before. We know this. I understand the twin flame journey, but it's bigger than all of us, which again has been said before. I'm sure I've said it before, but it's even bigger than we think. So one of the things that I was being pushed to do during this time is to like clarify things with my twin in the physical, in the real physical world, speaking with him and getting clarity. Has he changed? Has he been evolving? Absolutely. He's growing, not at the pace that I wish that he were, and I'll explain to you why in a few moments. And I want you to know that like there is this energy that is literally coming through all of us. And as I'm speaking to you right now, my body is tingling as I'm giving you information. So a lot of the stuff that I talk about when I talk is messages coming in through spirit, and I can't make them up. I don't plan anything before I talk. So I never know where we're going to lead, but I feel like there's things I want to cover. So hopefully we'll do that. I didn't make notes to go back and make sure I cover them. So if I don't, you're not meant to hear them, or they're meant to come out at a different time or a different way. So, one of the things that we have been prompted to do is to clear out stuff. And in the last couple of years, it's been really inner child stuff surfacing. And it's been bubbling up inside all of us, inside of our twins, whether we know it or not, whether we're actually consciously talking to our twin or not. Believe it and know it inside of you that it is happening for them too, because what's happening to you is happening to them. We are one soul in two bodies. And it's really important to remember that, because we are already one. It's just that in this dimension, we see us as separate because we're needing to heal the things that are making us separate, feeling that separation from spirit, feeling that separation from one another is what we chose to experience, to clear and heal what needs to, so that we could actually come together as one in union in a physical sense. Because already in a spiritual, intuitive, multidimensional sense, we are already together. We are already one. And that love is still there, and it will always be there. It will never go away. Even whatever choice you make in this human earthly realm, you're always going to have that connection. It won't go away. So recognize that, know that inside of you, trust that inside of you. So in the last several weeks, so much has transpired in the last couple months, particularly for me. Lots have transpired, and a lot of information has been coming about really learning to clear that inner child stuff. So many of us, the inner child stuff has been bubbling up, kind of coming in, wanting to be healed, wanting to like be looked at. Even things that we thought we dealt with and things we didn't even know existed until we opened the door. Once we open the door, things are starting to surface, and it's making connections happen left and right. So while I've been in my recovery of physically getting better and not needing an inhaler, thank you God, I'm so tired of having to do an inhaler and having trouble breathing. And it's funny when I think about over the last year, I've had a lot of stuff with breathing, and I didn't connect the dots because my allergy is mold. So over all that time and learning to like come back into myself, I was actually pulled into major drama, emotions, and having to, you know, shift my entire life, change everything where I lived and worked. Everything just like all at once happened, and it was scary, overwhelming, totally traumatized me in the sense of kicking up the inner child, needing to feel safe and needing to feel secure and needing to feel home. And of course, where do I feel home the most? My beloved. But my beloved's not available to me. He's not available to come in and be my home at this moment. And that's because of his own baggage and his own fears and whatever's kicked up for him. So in the last couple years, we have been dealing with, since I would say 2017, so a year and a half perhaps, we've been dealing with inner child stuff surfacing and coming up, and the push to like clear the inner child, clear the inner child, heal the inner child, heal the inner child. That's been there. And so for some of us, we've been on this path of like opening up the door, looking back at that little inner child that we haven't looked at in a long time, and delving out and clearing inside, going in and saying, okay, this didn't work, but let's teach this inner child that she could be loved or he could be loved. Let's do that healing now. And so that's been the push for quite some time. And I was getting towards the last half of last year, we have to do this. It needs to happen. It needs to happen. We can't carry the baggage in. We can't go forward with the baggage. We can't keep going at this level. We have to expand and go to a higher vibrational frequency. So what I was getting at the end of last year was like, it was time for movement, time for change. And I really believed that Spirit took over at one point for me and forced me to move forward and forced me to change. So something recently happened with my twin. Now he's been shifting and coming forward, doing a little bit more of his work. But my inner child, with this whole thing that happened with my home and the mold and getting really, really sick with it, that has created a trauma in my inner child for like, you know, not feeling home, not feeling safe. And it reminded my inner child of something that happened in childhood. So that stuff surfaced, started kicking up, and it created something I did not recognize until recently, a repelling to my twin. Did I understand that's what was happening? No. Did I know that's what needed to happen? No. I'd like to say, oh, I'm all knowing and I'm great by that, but I didn't know until I started living it and experiencing it. So what had happened was, another part of me started taking over and said, okay, we need to be strong, we need to be healed, we need to be powerful, because there is this beautiful, amazing EstaRa energy that I am, and that pulls me into my power center and has me go forward. It gives me like fearless bravery when I have to face things that are scary. But there's this little girl inside of me, the April part of me, the little girl part of me that is like, no, can't do that, not going there, we're not going there. Which was holding me back. And it was holding me back in the sense that it was having me stay where I was in almost a stagnation with my twin. And what I mean by that is I've been pulled to keep raising frequency and raising vibration. And I do that, but I was doing that to like a limited capacity. So I would raise my frequency and vibration, and then I would see my twin and I having a little bit of a separation, a little more. And then I would be like, oh no, no, this is not conscious, by the way. This was never a conscious thing. This is all subconsciously going on. And I would be like, oh no, I can't because he's not going to come with me. And so I'd be afraid to go too far. So I'd go a little bit and I would wait for him to catch up. Now, is that how union happens? No. Is that how spirit works? No. Is that how alignment works? Absolutely not. It's not our job to slow ourselves down to wait for them to catch up to us. And so many of us inherently as nurturers and as being more of the divine feminine with our masculine energies, our masculine counterparts, we've been so good about like holding on, being that nurturer, because actually we came into this planet as divine feminine. We came in with the DNA, particularly saying this is what you do as a divine feminine. You're nurturing and you're loving and you tolerate and you accept less than what you deserve, because those are programmings that we came in with. We came in with a program that we need to be rescued, we need to be saved, and we're not going to be okay. We need a protector. And so I'm using those words because those are the words that have been really playing in the ethers in the last week, particularly. And when I sit with that, what it comes to inside of me and what I recognize is that a lot of us have not been consciously aware of what we're playing out in the background, and that subconscious part of us, the part of us that actually thinks we're not capable and we're not strong enough. Like, so it's interesting. We have like an internal dichotomy. Like a part of us, we don't need anybody. We know that we're going to be successful. We're going to be fine. We don't need to have a man, a divine masculine energy come in and take care of us. But then there's that other dichotomy part of us that we've been programmed in our DNA that we actually do need to be protected. So there's a part of us that's always waiting for that protection to come in, always waiting for that home to come in, always waiting for that safety to come in. And meanwhile, it's conflicting with what we believe in our head, if you will, our heart. So like our internal, there's like this internal struggle of like who we really are and what our role is in this energy. And in this time on the planet, we're like confused at our role. Well, lo and behold, so is our twin. Our twin is even more confused because we have a little bit more of a sense of it because we have some guidance coming in. We have teachers and healers coming to speak with us and bringing in this reality into our consciousness for us to pay attention to what it is we need to do with us and what it is we need to do with us in our reality. And what's interesting is my guides over the last couple of years, if you've followed me for that long, they have constantly said it always comes back to you. Always focus on what it is you need to do. What is it that you need? As you move up, so will they. But again, I felt that was happening, and it happened, and it's happened over the period of time I've known my twin, but not to the capacity that I would allow myself to get too far, because there was a part of me that was fearful about him. Now, where does that fear come from? On an unconscious level, there's that little girl part that's like, well, he's my protector. I need to make sure he's with me. And then there's also this other part like, oh, I can't leave him behind. With not trusting fully the journey of knowing that he is already with me. We are already one, that I could never really leave him behind. There's no way to leave him behind. So that was like profound for me to experience it in the way that I've been experiencing it recently. So that brings me to what has happened with me and my twin. And I'm sharing this with you because I feel that if you haven't already done this yourself, it may be something to look at and to be aware of. It may be something that needs to happen on your end, or it may not be. But I'm sharing it because I feel like it's an educational opportunity, and it was enlightening for me to see what happened. So recently I told my twin I couldn't do this anymore. And when I said this, I meant the interactions we've had, the relationship we've been having, which is very old vibration and very old frequency. Now, the interesting thing about that is it hasn't always been that way, because I told you he's been changing, evolving, and growing, and things are happening on his end that are actually opening him, and the universe is actually forcing an opening happening on his end as it's forced us to do things as well on our journey. And we forget sometimes that as we've gone through so much in our life and so many changes, we forget that that's happening with our twin as well. And while they might be in a very different energy, meaning they're not quite there yet, the reality is it's still happening to them. And we forget that. We're not trusting that. And I honestly, on some level, was not totally trusting that, even though I was seeing semblance of it. So recognizing inside of me that it's unacceptable, the treatment he was doing, like the way he treated me, the behavior, the patternings that we developed. And I've allowed, because it was like a cookie crumb in a way. And throughout the years and knowing him and speaking to him, I would always call him out on stuff, or I would always bring the awareness into our relationship, like, this is not okay with me. But on some level, I was still accepting it, and I was still saying it was okay. But because I've worked so much on my worthiness and worked so much on knowing that I deserve love and I deserve more, it's actually come into play where I'm taking back my power. So over the last year, all the inner child stuff I've been working on since 2017, I got to tell you, this inner child is like, no, I am worthy of being loved with, and I'm worthy of being treated with respect, dignity, and passion, and caring, and all the things that are lacking in our relationship, because I've allowed that to happen. And I've not allowed it on a very conscious level. It's been on a very insecure level. This like inner child part of me said, oh no, we love him. We need to keep him here. It's okay. He could treat us that way. It's okay to be dismissed because he's got something going on. So one of the things that I've noticed for myself, and I'm sure you probably have noticed about yourself as well, that we tend to, as the divine feminine, and again, you don't have to be female. I've talked about this so many times. The divine feminine is just the energy that we carry with us. So if that's a predominant energy for you, you could be a male in a male body, but you're carrying that divine feminine energy. That part of us, we actually, because we've been battered and abused for so many eons on this planet, we've carried that with us in our DNA. And so on some level, as uncomfortable as it is humanly, on some level there's a human aspect of us that accept it and accepted that role again in this lifetime. And that's part of what we're here to change and challenge and remove. And there's varying layers of it. It's not like one time we're done. It's completely over. It literally does take time to actually recognize what it is we're carrying within us, outside of ego, outside of everybody else's influence. What are we doing with ourselves, and what's coming up for us? And so during this process, what I found was I am worthy. I am deserving, and I don't deserve to be treated the way he's treating me. Has he always treated me that way? No. The man I fell in love with was completely different, was very respectful, very kind, very loving, and very positive, knew what he wanted, knew what direction he wanted to go in. Didn't know how to do it all, but he actually had that conscious knowing. And I would always call them his moments of clarity, where they would come in and they'd be very clear, and he knew who he was, why he was here, about us, everything. And then he'd have these lapses where he wouldn't remember anything. And in the last year, being stuck in his inner child crap, as I was, just so you know, I had my own stuff kicking up, and I was stuck in my own inner child stuff at times because I was working through it. And then this health stuff kicked up more inner child stuff, because the last time I had asthma was when I was a teenager. So that's inner child stuff for me. So I was being stuck in that, literally, with the mold and the stuff in my apartment. And he was being stuck in his inner child thing. And him being stuck in his inner child thing, he was mean. You know, he wasn't the man that I fell in love with. He wasn't the person that I actually knew to be true. And I had moments of him coming through, which always made me hold on to that string, if you will. And so I finally made the decision that his behavior was unacceptable. And I didn't plan it. I didn't have any intentions of doing this. It's been building inside of me for the last couple of months. When we did talk, we would have these amazing conversations where I think he freaked out on me because I wouldn't hear from him for a few days, or I'd hear from him the next moment because he'd get scared of losing me. All this crazy stuff that was going on inside of him would make his behavior be kind of erratic in a way, where he'd either call me right away or he wouldn't talk to me for days. It was all this stuff that was kicking up inside of him. And I was just speaking my truth. And the last couple weeks ago, I made this decision that I was not going to accept that behavior anymore. And I love him. I absolutely adore him and love him. And I love him purely through divine unconditional love. Like, I accept him as he is, but I don't love the man he's behaving as. And what that came to was the realization of the timelines, of the switching of the timelines, which we know have been happening because I've been talking about timeline jumping for a really long time. So what I've discovered is the last few years, we have been jumping timelines back and forth, going forward into ascension and coming backward. And that's because of choices we make. We all have this, right? So every one of us, as we make a decision and a choice, we move timelines. If we make a different decision, a different choice, we move to a different timeline. And we've been jumping them back and forth. What I've noticed for myself, and I'm sure all of you can be like attuned to this and recognize it for yourself, we've been in between the timelines. We have not actually found one to stay in because we've been jumping back and forth. And so while I've been in my stuff, healing and doing all my stuff and dealing with the drama, the trauma, if you will, all of that stuff has created fear inside of me. So guess what? I was holding on to the old timeline of I need my protector. And so going back to that, like, part of me that didn't even know existed, of carrying the belief that I need a protector, I need someone to save me, and not save me in the old way of like, oh, you're going to come in and sweep me up off my feet and save me from being a damsel in distress. The saving part was more about the safety. I need someone to come in, protect me, and make me feel safe. And I actually believed somewhere inside of me that that's my job of my twin. But it's not the job of my twin. I'm the protector. I'm the savior for me. I can make me safe. I don't need my twin to do that. My twin can do that as an addition to. In addition to what I'm already doing, he can come in and do that for me. And so that belief system that I was carrying has been up for revelation, up for checking out. Does it match anymore? And, you know, to grasp that old belief system had me grasping onto the fact that I can accept him being crappy to me because guess what? He's still there and I'm going to be safe. I'll be safe because he's there. That's no longer in existence. That no longer serves the purpose as it did for a long time, clearly, and no longer serves any purpose for me, and that's not acceptable in my new journey. And so I say new journey because as the year shifted, we're still in that purging and clearing. And let me tell you, that moving out that I had to do, it was like a last minute quick decision because I needed to choose my health over everything else. And I did. I chose me. So in doing that, it opened the doorway for me to keep choosing me, keep choosing me, keep choosing me. And life circumstances put me in the situation where I had no choice but to choose me in every waking moment. I just saw 2222. Which is keep faith and keep going because it's coming. And so I made the choice to choose me, even with him. And it didn't mean I didn't choose him. It doesn't mean I don't love him and I don't care about him. It meant that I chose me. And in order for us to be in alignment and to be together, I need to choose me. Now, I didn't know any of, I knew all this on a very conscious level in my mind, but I didn't know it on a subconscious level. I didn't know what would happen. I didn't have any expectations. It actually, we were in a conversation and I just started speaking my truth and I was like, this is not going to work for me anymore. I love you, but I'm not happy with this. And I want you to treat me differently. And if you can't, then we can't do this anymore. And I know that you have your own crap going on, but so do I. And I need to stop thinking about your crap and start focusing on mine and figure out what I need for me and what I want for me. And by way of that, hopefully it'll make everything happen for us. I didn't want to be in that anymore. So making that choice literally was really difficult in the moments as I was doing it. Because at one point I said, I'm scared. And he said, why are you scared? Like, it was very sincere, very heartfelt. Why are you scared? Almost shocking, like surprised. And I said, because I'm afraid I'll never speak to you again. And I'm afraid I'll never see you again. And that was sincere truth that I spoke. And I started to cry. And he's like, why would you say that? I never said that. I said, I know. And he goes, we've done this before where we don't talk for a while. And this has happened before. And I said, but it's different this time. And he said, why? Why is it different? And I said, because I'm different. And that is absolute truth. I'm different. I'm not going to accept less than what I deserve any longer. I deserve everything that I choose and I want in my life. And anything that does not stay in alignment with the purity of my soul cannot be there anymore. It's no longer acceptable. And I am choosing me in every moment, every day. And it's hard. It's hard work, let me tell you. It's almost like I'm getting training wheels again to do this. And this is all about the navigating our new light body, navigating the new energy, navigating the new earth. All of this has to happen, but we have to choose us in every moment. How easy that is and how difficult it is at the same time. And it can be both, right? Because it's so easy for some circumstances and some situations, and others it's really difficult, really hard to do. And I'm hoping that each of us can honor that within us and inside of us every moment of every day. And it's, again, it's not going to be easy. Some days it'll be easier than others, and other days it'll be really difficult and we can't see the light of day. But you know what? That is the journey. That is the part that we need to do to keep going. So all that long-winded thing that I'm sharing with you, I'm sure some of you have already gone through this or are going through this right now or have gone through it and are about to go through it again. Believe me, this is not the first time I'm going through something similar. I've done it from a different perspective. It wasn't about feeling safe. This time it's about being safe. And guess what being safe is for me? Being worthy of knowing I can be safe. And that's huge because I've dealt the I love me. I do. I absolutely love me. But I didn't know I was worthy of being safe without somebody protecting me and coming in to help me. Now, did I expect him to come and sweep me off my feet? No, just like I said earlier. I didn't expect that. Never have. But in the back of my mind somewhere, I placed his role as being my protector, and I was angry with him for not protecting me and not making me feel safe. Again, that's not his job. But here's the thing. I never said that to him. I never expected that from him verbally, ever. Never even in my mind did I ever think about it. But an unspoken, energetic feeling had to be activated and be sent out to him, repelling him away. Because guess what? He's looking for the same thing. He's looking to me for the same safety. Different words. He uses very different words than I do. But it's the same thing. He's looking for me to feel safe. And guess what? He's repelling me because he's coming off in a very different way than I would. And we're both repelling each other because we're both looking for the same thing and we're not actually looking within ourselves. So we can't bring that to each other. And the ironic thing is we could give that to each other, but we have to have it in us first. And we're not looking here. We're looking at each other without consciously doing this. This is all unconscious. So I ask you to really look within you to find out what is going on inside of you unconsciously that you are sending out to your beloved. And because you're sending it out to the world, not just your beloved. It's going out to the world. This is happening to every single human being on the planet, whether we're consciously aware of it or not, whether it's our bad days or our good days. It's happening. People are not... There's no one on the planet that's untouched at this time. And that's what the beauty of it is. We're all shifting and changing. So if you look at our country, the United States, for example, and you look at our president, I'm not going to go political. You look at his behavior and his actions. Is that not the actions of an inner child? That is an inner child that needs to feel safe and loved. And guess what? He's our president, not because, oh, he was chosen by everybody in the world, and not because, oh, he's a bad guy, or whatever words we want to use to describe him. Anybody can use any words they want, or he's just so wonderful and he's been chosen. No, he is a reflection of what's going on inside of each and every one of us. He's a reflection of each of us being in our inner child and needing to heal it. He's showing us his inner child needs to be healed. He's showing us as the leader that he is an unhealed inner child. This is what our world is made of right now. And in order for us to have a more healed president, we need to heal ourselves individually, each of us. And as we do, we heal the world around us. That is like such a reflection that I came to today, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I didn't even think about that. I always thought of him as being in his inner child with some of his actions and behaviors and the messages he puts out there. But really, that's the message. It's like a reflection of what's happening with all of us in humanity. And it's time for us to pay attention to what's been coming up. And if you haven't been paying attention, please start looking. And if you have been paying attention, please hold on. It's working. We're working it. I know it's scary and it feels like shit. And I'm using that word because that's how it's felt for me. And it's felt like crappy. And there's days that I'm like high as a kite, feeling so great. There's always it was always always a thing for us to be in our truth. You know, it's always about us being tapped in to who we are in any given moment. And of course, that means we have to feel our crap. And, you know, some days it's great, some days it's bad. So just trust that you're right where you need to be at this moment. Okay, coming back to the twin. So when I said, you know, that's it, goodbye, can't do this. I love you, I wish you well. I actually hung up and I I cried because it hurt, but then I cried because it didn't hurt as bad as I thought it would, number one. And number two, I felt a weight off my shoulders that I didn't even know was there. That's like so beyond amazing and wonderful. And then the other piece of it that was really powerful and amazing was I was really emotional and I didn't want to go home. So I said to my friend, "Can I come to your house and sit there?" I didn't want to go stay at my parents because that's where I am right now. It's like a temporary situation, which, by the way, that's a whole nother inner child stuff kicking up in another world that we won't talk about at the moment because that's another story. But anyway, I went to her house and I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I just felt energy shifting. I felt me lifting up out of my body. All these colors were coming into me, all these changes and these beautiful figures and energies coming and dancing. And as that was happening, I was embracing it and thinking, oh my God, what is happening to me? And I literally felt me lifting up. And I got this very clear guidance that this is ascension. I ascended another level. And I moved up and I felt it within me. And I was like, that's it. It was like a balloon. Imagine, that's a visual I'm getting right now. Do you know a hot air balloon? And it's got those sandbags holding the balloon down, and then you let go the bag and it can float up. That's exactly what happened to me. I floated up because I could not go into the new year with this old baggage and old energy of not feeling worthy and not feeling lovable and not feeling deserving and not expecting better treatment from my twin flame. And he is the love of my life. He is my essence, and I need to respect me enough to know that I'm worthy and loving, and I need to know that he can treat me that way. But the only way he's going to treat me that way is if I treat me that way, and the only way he's going to treat himself that way is if he treats himself that way. And me accepting the old crap and the old drama just because I love him, that's not okay. Yes, we can expect that they're going to act out of their patterns and their behaviors, but that's part of the journey too. Like, we need to understand that's going to happen, and it's okay that that happens. But it's not okay to be mistreated. It's not okay to treat ourselves like we do not deserve love and respect, or we do not deserve to be treated with love and respect and dignity. That has to happen. And the more we start to recognize it within us, guess what? The more it's going to happen for them. I got to tell you, it's been 2 weeks since I've spoken to him, and I miss him. I've been dreaming about him. I love him. And if he's listening, which I don't think he is, but if he ever does listen to this video, I love you beyond all time and space. You're always here in my heart, and you're always a part of me, and you'll never go away. And I can't wait till we're together here in the physical, because I know what's happening in this lifetime. There's a part of me that night, as much as I said goodbye, there's a part of me that I said to my friend, maybe I'm delusional, but I know we're going to be together. I don't feel like it's goodbye forever. I feel like it's just right now, because I need to keep growing and advancing in my energy field. Because guess what? The more I do, the more he does. And if we're not in alignment, how is he going to get into alignment with me if I'm not in alignment with our truth? And I'm the one that's more aware of that. I'm more aware of who I am and why I'm here. So if I'm not doing my divine guidance and my divine truth, how can he? So that's what's been happening, and that's what's happening to all of you right now. If you are aware of the emotions coming up and purging, trust what's happening. It's okay. Feel them. If you don't feel them, you're not going to move through them. And if you don't allow yourself to feel the beautiful, powerful being that you are, you won't be able to be that beautiful, powerful being that you are. And feel the crap, because that crap is those sandbags being let out of the hot air balloon. Let the hot air balloon rise. You are the hot air balloon. Let your soul rise, because as you rise, you are opening to the doorways in front of you that you didn't even know existed. And those doorways are new timelines into union. New timelines into union. Do you hear that? Timelines into union. Wow, I didn't even hear that until I said that to you. And I didn't even know that until I said that to you, because it's coming in through me right now. The old timelines of union do not exist anymore. Why? Because they're not in alignment with your divine soul. As you keep elevating in your vibration, in your frequency, as that keeps happening, I have to tell you, the words are coming out of my mouth, and I'm catching myself. I'm like, ooh, am I saying all this? It's totally a channel, so please bear with what's ever coming, making sure I speak English properly. As we elevate, the timelines elevate, and we are trying to be our best possible timeline that will help humanity, not only help us to come into union into our best, highest timeline, but to help humanity in the way that we have contracted to assist the earth at this time. So Please hear what I'm saying. Trust your soul inside of you and love yourself enough to give you the gift of divine union with yourself in your truth so that that can happen with you and your beloved, because it's going to. And I have no doubt that it will. I have a renewed sense in this day that I haven't had in months. So, I send you so much love and so many blessings. And I do have specials, and you are absolutely welcome to any meditations that I've done in the past. I have them on sale purposely because I want you to use the Twin Flame meditations to heal you, clear you. That's available. I have a 3-card check-in available for $25 if you're interested in that. I'll put that in the links below. I also have a special for readings for this month for Twin Flames just because it's the month of love. And I welcome you to contact me, and please, by all means, put yourself on the mailing list if you're not. And anything that I could do to help you, I promise to bring into this reality and try to do more videos and be more consistent now that I am feeling better. It's taken a long time for me to physically feel well enough to do a video. So I hope that I hope it helps you. And I actually hope somebody's listening because it's been a while and I'm sorry that I've not been here. I have to be honest, I've been trying to record a video for about a month now and I haven't felt well enough, or there's been interference, like crazy stuff being with a family. Not always easy. But I send you so much love and so many blessings into divine union. It's coming. And I don't know exactly when it is for each and every one of us, but it is coming. And I feel it more now than I even felt 3 weeks ago. And 2 weeks ago is when I said goodbye, because I said goodbye to that old life. I don't want that anymore. I want this new life, and I'm going to manifest it from here on out. So pay attention to what's coming out. There's definitely a Twin Flame meditation coming in March. I had one last Saturday. I did not advertise it as well as I usually do, but you are absolutely welcome to join me in the ethers anytime. So pay attention to emails. Check out my class listings if you go onto my Facebook page. My website, I'm still working on trying to get that resolved. I'm having some issues with that because I've not been feeling well. I'm working on that over the next few months. In the meantime, I send you so much love and so many blessings, and I wish you so well on your journey, and I hope to be back soon with a new message. Namaste.